All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Multi-Poptural, the hardest pronounced pop culture podcast on the planet. This is your host, Brian, and today I'm joined with Jenna Forbes and Andrew Newman, and we're going to be talking about all things final episode, final season of Game of Thrones. We are coming to you from the Speakeasy Tavern, so there will be some background noise going on today. So since these two are new to the show, I'll go ahead and kick it off with my take on the final episode. So I'll go ahead and say it. It's definitely not the greatest series finale I've ever seen.
A nice way to put it.
That's a very, very nice way to put it. It's not the worst thing I ever seen. Before I get into it, I do want to say this show, even though the writing and everything else, and I'm sure we're going to talk about, the acting is superb.
And the production value is just,
they
don't miss anything except for...
Are you guys doing a
cups and
sandwich right now? You're doing something positive, something real fucking negative, and then something positive.
We're going all over the spectrum, but as usual, the acting is great. You know, everybody from Peter Dinklage to, of course, Emilia Clarke.
Fantastic. He does a great job. Sitting there and
his one
not
word,
doing
though,
anything.
his powerful.
And he didn't
Right,
even
the
warn.
superb.
Right, I just sit there. Got it. And then do the thing with your eyeballs.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of opportunities after this.
Old King Bran. I am happy to see the Starks get a W for a change. You know, not really thrilled with the choice of Bran being the king of the 6 kingdoms instead of the 7, thanks to Sansa getting her way and pretty much pissing off the Iron Islands at the same time. But, as far as highlights go, it's good to see Ghost back. I didn't realize how fucked up his ear was from the Battle of Winterfell. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was that bad. And, seeing Jon go off with the wildlings, finally being with the free folk and really just being free and getting to do whatever he wants. Enjoyed that. And then, of course, when Yara threatened to kill Jon, when Arya was like, threaten my brother again, I'll slit your throat. Yes. I thought that was a great little sister moment right there. So that's kind of my takeaways. You know, the small council meeting I thought was really cool. I could honestly watch a whole episode on that.
Agreed. Yeah, that was really awesome.
Seeing Bronn and Sir Davos and his back and forth, their tit for tat is always entertaining. And, that's pretty much it. I mean, to be honest with you, Dany's death was completely underwhelming. I think we all saw it coming. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a oh shit or a shock and awe moment.
It was just unsatisfying.
It really was. And, that's the thing that's kind of bothered me. And I'm sure a lot of people about this season, this show has kind of been built on, especially seasons 2 through 4, to where it was always like a shock ending, you had to continue to keep watching the show, where it seems like after every episode this season, it was like, okay, well, now I got a week off. You couldn't, you could actually wait for the next week. It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait for next Sunday. Now it's like, God, what the fuck are they going to give us next Sunday?
Literally, they've got like a documentary.
The last watch, right?
Oh yeah, that's May 26th, right?
And it's probably gonna be way better than the finale.
Oh, so. I'm sure. And I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff too, like actually seeing them break character.
I like it when it stays in the shot.
Yeah, right. So Jenna, what's your take on the final episode?
I'm disappointed. I can't even say that fast enough.
Tell him.
So I kind of get mad every episode when people kind of shit on the episodes and like, oh, it was garbage. I really have not felt that for any episode so far for all 8 seasons.
Sure.
This one just, like you said, was so underwhelming that I had so many more questions that I'm never going to get the answers to. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to sleep at night. Like, it's upsetting. So so it was so bad that I fell asleep for the last 20 minutes, right? I'm so tired. And then I woke up and I started watching it, and I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Like I saw it enough that I was like, I'm disappointed. I don't need to see the rest.
Right.
I mean, I ended up watching it, but I was just mad because of the character development for the whole season was really good, and then it fell so flat. And I went nowhere.
Right.
So I really have nothing good to say about the last episode. Like I literally have nothing good to say. So,
no highlights, not even Ghost coming back.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, obviously that one, but everything was just a disappointment.
Gotcha. Andrew, what's your take?
I thought it was fucking terrible. I thought the whole season was terrible. It ruined previous seasons of the show for me.
Yes. Agreed.
So I guess we'll get into the whole arcing thing at some point. But the last episode specifically, I mean, the time lapse and everybody had a nice manicured beard.
Oh man.
Prison for 2 weeks or something, and then turned into like a sitcom. Might as well have had a laugh track.
Right.
It was just somebody said a line. It was like a middle school play. Somebody said a line. The next person stood up and awkwardly said their line. Somebody said a joke that wasn't funny, and everybody laughed. And then they moved on. And then Bran was king, and then it ended. And none of your questions will ever be
none.
No.
Ever.
And it just never gave you those moments, moments that Game of Thrones has given us so many episodes and so many seasons, like of just either joy or sadness or being really pissed. It was really just blah.
Years.
Yeah.
Because there was no point of building the characters up. Like, what was the point of telling us that Jon Snow was a Targaryen? For what? Where did it go? What happened?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Why was Bran so silent the whole time?
Oh,
there was some weird connection with him and the White Walkers. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
He's very devious. He schemed his way to the Iron Throne.
There's a whole story there that I thought we were going to get into. Yeah,
he played the Game of Thrones better than anybody.
He's like,
this is
what
he
knew everything. He knew everything that was going to happen, and he let it all happen, and then he got to be king.
Yep, and that's where he said, "Why do you think I came all the way down here like a real douche?"
Snaky little shit.
And also, I'm mad that Sansa is the Queen of the North.
That one, honestly, I wasn't too mad about, but I was very surprised how Yara and the Iron Islands just sat there and took it when they wanted independence forever. So that to me was
part
more...
of her deal with Dany was that the Iron Islands could be their own.
That is true. That is true.
Earlier in the show,
I forgot about that.
She argued with the turned into Mad Queen who
She
wouldn't let Jon Snow, who she was in love with, let the North be independent, but she let Yara have the Iron Islands because Euron was gonna, I don't know, kill everyone for Cersei or something. He was pointless. But then when it's time for Sansa to just be like, hey, little brother, let me have, there's older brother, little brother, let me have the North, Yara's just fine with it.
But did she even say, like, let me...
No, she said let the North have it.
Right. So that's what I was so pissed about. So that's why I think that nobody tried to save Jon from, like, getting sent away. That's why she was so okay with Bran getting, the Iron Throne in. And then she just went away. And then when she put her crown on, I was like, this bitch was, like, waiting for this opportunity the whole time. Like, it's as if, like, she didn't give a shit about anybody else.
She wants to be a princess. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Then the whole show. That part actually makes sense to me.
It was just
I like that part.
Garbage.
Right.
But it was just a mess. I mean, Jon, there's no more Night's Watch because there's no more
threats.
There's nothing to protect.
Right.
So he clearly didn't care. They just left, which is fine. I have no problem with him ignoring that Night's Watch order. But to think that he was actually banished anywhere, they sent all the dickless assholes to the other side of the world where they're going to go to some poor beach village. It was the same place where him and Missandei or whatever her name was were supposed to go. And everyone thought everyone was going to die, and they had a nice little moment in episode 2, and then no one died.
And that's why he went there.
And so he went there with his whole army, but I assume people already... That is not the place that they offered him.
Right.
They offered him some uninhabited place. Hey, what's he going to do? They can't procreate.
Right. Right. Just a bunch of dudes running around.
Send them there?
Just die with them.
So there's just... the place they did go to, starts with an N. It's on the other...
Yeah, the island of North. Yeah.
There's already people there.
Right.
And there's just this... They're just going to show up.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we're here now. We're an army.
Right.
We're here.
We're here.
No one else talks. We just bang our spears every once in a while.
Yeah, we know Missandei, which nobody has seen since he was like a baby.
I just know he didn't answer any of my questions either. That's fine.
See, you just have so many, right?
Yes.
That's true. And then just seeing, even the guy from Dorne there, I don't know. It just could have been, it definitely could have been better. And obviously we had the Starbucks incident earlier. Then you see the thing with the plastic water bottle. I don't know if they just stopped giving a shit this season or what, but... the acting, the writing, anything you want to have a problem with, okay. But if you have 2 years to do this, at least have the production value not miss anything. You have an episode you can't see anything. Right. And the guy's blaming our television screens. Millions of people saying that we don't have our screens corrected. They re-edited that Starbucks cup by the next day. Yeah. Anything online or re-air, I guess, was fixed. But there's color correction on every single one of these episodes. Right. It doesn't look like that when you shoot. I mean, they have nice cameras, but it doesn't look like that. Right. They don't see that, especially when they already made a mistake. Yeah. They don't check. Yeah. No, agreed. And that's my thing. I mean, especially even the you see the post show whatever it is after the Thrones or whatever.
That's the most frustrating thing.
But he said, I think it was one of the first episodes. He's like, he talked about how he's seen every episode 30 times. Like, you've seen the shit 30 damn times. How do you not catch this thing? How do you not
know? Yeah. Well, there's like 5 people that are having
right,
to
and that's their
that,
job.
and they miss. Yeah, you have one job.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no Starbucks in it.
Right.
Well, it's definitely union workers. They literally only have one job. Somebody's job is probably only to look for Starbucks cups specifically. No one else is allowed to look for Starbucks cups. Maybe that's the problem.
That's true. Jimmy got fired that day.
Maybe a bunch of people saw it and they're like, well, that's union won't let me report that.
Like, I'm not on Starbucks duty. Yeah. That's not me.
Should have filmed in North Carolina.
But you heard the whole like conspiracy theory on that. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's advertising.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable.
Right. Like, do you think there's some like truth to that?
Oh, sure.
I drink Polar Springs water now or whatever that. I don't even know what the water bottle is at.
I still hate Starbucks.
I don't drink coffee at all, so it doesn't bother me. But.
I only drink it at work, and that's because it's free. So as far as, obviously how it ended, any spinoffs that you were like remotely interested in seeing?
Arya discovering America?
Agreed.
Arya Columbus hitting the road.
I mean, that's next, right?
That's pretty much it.
I mean, she left. Okay, it's one continent and the other. I don't know the names.
Well, Westeros.
Yep. And then what's the other one called?
Oh, where she was before Bravos.
Yeah, where
Bravos
the free
are.
Yeah. So she went over to Bravos and that other continent. She had an opportunity to completely erase her name and her life, and well, it turns out she did learn all the stuff from them in like a day.
Yeah,
and then she left because she couldn't give up her name as a Stark. She had to go back to her family. Now everybody's back together. She's going to get on a boat
right
to an area no one's ever seen before. Has she ever expressed any desire in exploration in the entirety of the show?
No, yeah, she absolutely said that in like one of the beginning seasons.
I think it was season 6.
Yeah,
she said it. Something like that. But she's always been
brought
kind
that
of
exact
adventurous.
same thing up, and I think she repeated it word for word in this episode. So like that's the one spinoff I would like to see because I feel like that's her personality, and that ended for her the way that. I don't think it could have ended any better way for her because what was she going to do? Maybe be like the, what's the King's Hand or whatever.
Right, the Queen's Guard or whatever.
Yeah, something like that maybe, but like I don't think she would have done it to Sansa.
She wouldn't
like,
have enjoyed
never.
that shit.
Queen's Guard.
Is that
for King's Guard?
Well, no, for Sansa. Why did Brienne of Tarth, who would never leave the North, went to the North to protect Sansa, go be King's Guard for Bran? Right. Why wouldn't she be Queen's Guard in the North for...
That's a good point.
Which she vowed to her mother that she would always protect. I don't know.
I mean, but now she's in King's Landing.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, Arya, I would watch it.
Oh, I would definitely watch
100%. It. But that's the only one that I would care to see. Like, nobody else. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they did one. I know they're not going to, but I've always loved Tormund. He's one of my favorite characters on the show.
Right.
Now, if they were to do one just on him, I'd watch it. With him and Jon, I wouldn't. It'd be too kitschy or something, right? Right. It'd be like Starsky and Hutch in the North.
I'd watch that. Okay.
It's actually now that you say it out loud, it's not that bad.
Starsky and Hutch all the bandits in the North, like.
Right, but the thing is, I mean, who the hell is left in the North? You know, I mean, whoever was left was pretty much the army of the dead.
One of them is definitely the Night King and the White Walkers. One of them is definitely dealing with
like the actual ones coming out
stuff and like the old battle, like the one flashback scene stuff in the past. So I don't know all they have planned, but because a lot of the thought was they didn't get into the Night King story because they're saving it for some.
Again, that just fell flat.
Well, I think the Night King thing is going to be the prequel that they're doing, and I think that's why. And George R.R. Martin went on record saying it's going to end differently in his books, which I'm sure he did.
I thought he had some stupid quote today about somebody only has one child, and I don't know who that person is, but they asked him, is it going to be different? He's like, well, this person only had one kid, meaning like, I only have one set of books. It's going to be what it is.
Right. So this is my other question. So people had brought up that, the books aren't finished yet, and maybe that's why this episode fell so flat, but doesn't that make it worse? Like, now it feels like it's just thrown together. And, like, you didn't even try. Like, I'm sorry your books aren't finished, but maybe you should have waited.
And you figured George R.R. Martin would have had some input.
Yes.
Supposedly, when he left the show, I think, after season 4 is when the books cut?
I think it was either 4 or 5.
It's definitely, end of 5 is definitely all the showrunners.
Mm-hmm.
And he told them how it's supposed to end, and he kind of gave them an outline. So I fully believe that Bran's supposed to be king, Daenerys is supposed to go crazy. Maybe where every character ends up, lives or dies, is different, but the whole she showed signs of being evil. The DB and whatever his name is, I don't think they fleshed it out well enough.
No.
For the last two. It
That's
just
the
went
thing.
0 to 100.
You said it
real
right
quick.
there. They didn't flesh it out well enough. Plain and simple. Like, at least if you're going to kill Daenerys off, let her be queen for more than a day.
And let her build her anger. Like, let's see her be more mad. She was mad for like one episode when she burned down the city. Like, let that be, the character that we all waited for.
Exactly. Because Cersei, everybody forgets that she blew up the fucking sept.
That
and everybody
bitch.
was like, oh, well, she's okay. Like,
Who thought she was okay?
well, no, I'm just saying, though, the backlash
her
for what
character was awesome,
what Dany
True.
did was way worse than what Cersei did.
I agree with
as
that.
far
I do
as the
agree with
backlash,
that.
especially on social media.
But, so nobody killed Cersei the day after she did it. So we really didn't see the backlash. She was still there with her giant zombie dude that would slaughter anybody if they spoke anything bad about her.
Yeah.
And you're in the only city that's like a city.
Yeah.
And you can't like get in a plane or travel anywhere unless you're Littlefinger, and then you just zip around the fucking world. What are you gonna do? Leave King's Landing?
Another thing too, this is how sloppy they were this season. Like Jon's on the street, Grey Worm's getting ready to slit throats. Then he walks all the way over to the damn courtyard or whatever, and then Grey Worm's at the top of the steps.
Yeah.
I'm
We
like,
all
what
have
the fuck
phones,
is going
and
on?
if we all walked separate directions, I would have no clue where you were, and would not be able to find you as quick as he knew immediately where everybody was in this burned down city. That, to my recollection, he's never been inside before.
Right. He doesn't know the shortcuts.
Like, okay, if it's
through King's
Arya who's
Landing.
been there, Sansa who lived there, maybe there's not a lot to do, so maybe you really get into how to get around.
Yeah.
But he's never been there, and he just knows exactly where everybody is.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
But even that, so I can get over all that stuff. If the story makes sense and it was good, but there's nothing they could do to save it in the last episode, I don't think.
No, and I
was
knew
done
going
before
into it
that.
after episode 5, it was just too much to cram in there, and it already felt forced as is. You know what I mean? There were some touching moments on there, like Brienne finishing Jaime's story. Cool, she
That
she
ink
took
was not
that,
dry, by the way.
and she took it way
Smear
better than
everywhere.
any girl I've ever seen that got dumped that
Right,
fast.
no shit.
Yeah.
But why did Jamie go? Like, this makes me so mad that Jamie went back to her. Like, I don't know why it makes me so mad, but I really thought that he had his shit together and that he, like, was over the whole.
Right.
Guess you've never been that in love with your sibling.
No, just not my thing. But that made me so upset that he went back for her. It was a pretty dope scene with him and Theon, right? Or
Jamie and his brother Tyrion when he let him out of the cage.
Oh.
I did like that scene.
Yeah,
I'm the guy that killed Jamie
Euron?
Lannister.
Oh, you're on.
Euron.
Yeah.
Well,
Wrong, but
I said Theon.
no,
They're both
you're right.
fucking psychos.
Yeah,
So.
they're both Greyjoys.
But yeah.
So Euron, what a waste of a character. I haven't read the books. If they finish him, I probably will. But apparently he's this dark arts, like, keeps like people with their tongues cut out on his boat so they can use like dragon horns. There's an item called a dragon horn that lets you control a dragon. Unless you're a Targaryen, it kills you. So he makes people without tongues and his servants use it, and then they die and he doesn't care. And they like cast spells on his boats, and he travels the world, and he's this world famous guy who everyone's terrified of. And he
See,
runs
that's
powers.
episode we need.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
seasons of like. Apparently, he was just introduced in the books before R.R. Martin decided to stop
writing for 20 years.
So I don't know, but apparently he was a wasted character, and I didn't really have a problem with him until this season when he didn't really.
And see, I think I'm going to wait for the final books to come out to actually read the books.
I 100%.
Because the consensus is everybody that's read all the books so far definitely not pleased with this season as much as we are, and we've never even read the damn books.
Right.
So let me wait for the books to finish, and then I do want to start it from beginning to end.
I've always thought that Martin was just waiting to see what works, what doesn't work.
Sure.
Meanwhile, he's extremely rich now because of it. So.
Oh, God, yeah.
To finish those books?
Yeah, I mean, you got to see what works.
I mean, I can't even be mad because that's really fucking smart. Like,
right. He's like,
whether he meant to or not, he's got a very good outline of things people like.
Like, maybe we don't do that.
How people,
then.
and then like he can make him as long as he wants.
Maybe Bran is not the king.
Yeah. Maybe have him speak more or something or do something.
Who would you have sat on the Iron Throne?
In that episode when they were voting? Oh.
Of the people that are left. No, you know what? No, not of the people that were left.
How far?
Like, just in general. Just this season.
They
had to be alive in season 8.
On Night King kills everyone and wins. So that's going to be my vote.
He was
just
Team
real
White
quick.
Walker.
Team White Walker the whole way.
I got you. I was pulling for Tormund or Brienne of Tarth. I would have loved to see. Just because seeing a free folk being I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Like
so
my
more
favorite
realistically
people.
was Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
I would have taken Gendry.
Yes.
Gendry, the bastard son.
From Flea Bottom. Started from the bottom, now he's here.
They made him
I know,
legitimate,
I love that.
and then he
I
actually
love
has a claim to the throne. So if he had stood up there and been like, I'm Robert Baratheon's only true son.
Right.
They stole this king from him, and they're all voting like, that's a pretty good argument.
Right. And where were all their armies at, too? Because I was surprised that Sansa's the only one that brought up, I have 1,000 Northmen outside. Well, they all just rode solo by themselves, the rest of them?
Didn't they
come
sink?
on.
Everyone died a lot, except for the main characters. And then none of them actually did die, because literally every draft, the Dothraki
they were all there. They were all there.
The thing, and then Jorah and the dog came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently the dog lost an ear.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Badly.
Very dark.
But how did Tormund get back so fast? Like, where? I thought he left.
He did leave, but he was waiting at Castle Black.
Yeah. He went back up north.
Yeah, he went back up north. Episode 4.
He didn't want to go down to King's Landing.
Right.
Which seemed at the time, I was like, you asshole, they don't have any army left. They need you. Well, that's not true. They had a huge army.
No. Yeah,
and one dragon who was very powerful.
Oh, speaking of worthless, the Golden Army. That was
they didn't even show up.
Shit!
What happened?
Apparently they needed elephants. Was that the whole army?
No.
Because the dudes didn't do a damn thing. And it seemed like there was like 200 of them. And there was supposed to be, what, like 10, 20,000
Again, why are you
even
like bringing them up if they're not going to be a part of the fucking story?
Because I thought for sure, I'm like, so this is how Dario sneaks into Westeros to help his queen out. We get no Dario this season, which I was expecting at least something from Dario. We haven't seen him since season 6.
Is that the one who changed the actors at one point?
Yeah.
That confuses shit.
Well, we've had 3 mountains, too.
Yeah, but they keep looking different. The only mountain is the giant bodybuilder one, as far as I'm concerned. You rewatch season 1 when he's not a zombie, and you're like, wait, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not the mountain.
That's just a really tall dude.
Anybody can see me on the podcast.
We do it all the time on the podcast. We'll sit there and point. We're like, oh yeah, we're not on camera.
Just describe my actions for me.
So I have to ask, as a woman, did you guys have any emotional, moments, that you got upset?
Not this season.
Not this season.
Outside of just frustration and anger.
Yeah. I mean, I was really happy for when Brienne got knighted.
Yes.
And then when you brought it up, when Tyrion let Jaime escape. That was, when he was like, I wouldn't have survived my childhood without you.
I had 2 very emotional moments. One, when the intro song played, episode 1. I got very excited that it was back. I was visibly pumped up in my house by myself. And the Westworld trailer before the final episode got me.
True, yes.
So stoked. I love that show.
Hype.
We're not talking about that show, but I love that show.
Oh no, we will talk about it.
I wasn't even paying attention. And then I was like, oh cool, Aaron Paul's got a new show. And then I was like, wait.
Hold on.
It's the Westworld.
So Aaron Paul's going to be in Westworld?
What? You need to watch the trailer.
Oh, how did I miss that?
Well, they announced it a while ago, but then they never, I don't know if it ever
Well, because they're doing the Breaking Bad movie. It's going to be a really long episode, which I can't wait for.
I just thought, I was like, oh, Aaron Paul's going to do an HBO show. I was like, this looks cool. It's all in the future. It's not Westworld anymore.
And then it flashed Westworld.
And Dolores shows up and it's Westworld. I'm like,
oh, I am looking forward to watching it.
Anyway, that show hasn't been ruined for me yet. So let's talk about Game of Thrones.
Let's talk about disappointment.
Those are my 2 emotional moments. What were your emotional moments as a female viewer of the show?
Yes.
When the Hound died. I got really attached to him.
I do like the Hound.
2 seasons.
So. I like how he arbitrarily gives up and then sees Arya and then doesn't give up.
Right.
And kills everything.
I love that whole thing when he tried to save her and didn't want her to be as as heartless as him. So was trying to save her emotionally for the rest of her life.
Changed her complete character arc on the spot there with that speech.
I know, but she kind of did. It clicked.
Yeah. It made sense. Don't go kill yourself. I like that he affectionately calls her.
And that was the first time he's actually called him by his real name.
Listen, I thought it was sweet. And then the whole moment, obviously, that fight was very...
The fight was great.
The fight was fantastic.
I have no idea. Apparently, the Clegane Bowl has been a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing from the books,
but
whether that ends up in the books or not, I don't care. I'm glad the show put it in.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about the show was people like this season, but they were going to do things because fans wanted it.
Right.
But I don't care if that was supposed to be there or not. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I will say that the dopest part of the whole season to me was when the mountain crushed that guy's skull, or just threw him and his head exploded.
Oh, Kyburn?
That
shit was so funny. And then moments after
that,
Cersei just walking by, excuse me. Excuse me.
That whole scene, the Hound walking up, the Arya scene happened right before that you were talking about. Runs into his brother. Cersei just scatters by. Hound realizes that his brother can't die, which turns out I thought if he stabbed him in the eye.
I thought for sure. I'm like, zombie his ass somewhere in the brain. But nope.
Kyber should have made a few more of those tough sons of bitches.
Yeah, one to protect his ass. Well, you thought he was going to, because in episodes before, remember, he grabbed the zombie arm when they brought it down to show it to Cersei. And then before that, they brought, when Tyrion first escaped with Varys, they kept bringing him, like, heads of...
It had been really cool if one dead army for the living was fighting the other dead army for...
right.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I just have to ask too about...
Ask away.
When the Iron Throne got just melted to nothing, did you expect that?
I did not expect there to be an Iron Throne by the end of the season.
Really?
I didn't know how it was going to happen.
I had no...
but I figured I didn't think that there was going to be one by the end of the season.
I thought it was a little dramatic, but...
So dramatic.
It wouldn't. To me, even though Jon Snow was only like
he should have fucking died. Like you should have been.
He had to be hot as hell. But see, somebody else. A lot of people have been saying that, but he's Targaryen. But if you remember back to season 1, when the White Walker that used to be
is it his hair color, Brian? I know you're hung up on
no, God, no. Next person that fucking asks about why Jon Snow has black hair, I'm gonna lose my mind. But he he caught the lamp when he was fighting the White Walker that came back, and it was like and then threw it away.
Stop ruining things for me and telling me something.
I'm not saying he's not Targaryen, but not all Targaryens are.
I hoped in episode 3 when he just yelled at an ice dragon that it was going to shoot ice fire at him, and he was going to be a Stark and a Targaryen and be like, "Shit's fine, cold fire, I don't care."
I got this. This is a Tuesday for me.
I was like, why is he yelling at this? And then I was like, oh, now he's finally going to get burned by a dragon and be okay. And then it burned the Iron Throne down.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Which, thank God, the Iron Throne survived. Is the Iron Throne in the top of the Red Keep?
Yeah.
The Red Keep that fell on top of Cersei?
That's the thing. The whole setup is so weird to me. Right. I need to see a map of the
structural integrity of that.
Right.
I mean, they don't make things like they used to.
Apparently not.
Clearly.
Do you think it was kind of... kitschy that they had the last scene like Daenerys had pictured it when she was having those flashbacks
with the ash that's not snow, or the snow that's ash?
Yeah, the snow. Remember,
like
and she said that she envisioned the Iron Throne in the Red Keep that was just completely destroyed behind it, and then that's actually what happened.
Right.
For them to tie in, what was that, the 3rd season?
They had to get some.
That was actually season 2.
That was early.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
In the House of the Undying.
Yes.
Back when we had warlocks, and now they're all gone.
But that's the thing, like you tie things in that much, and then you fail us.
Right.
It has to do with George R. R. Martin writing the initial stories, coming up with the ideas, coming up with the tie-ins, having a place where he wants the story to go, but just not being the one to weave it all together. He left it in the hands of 2 guys who signed up to take a book and make it into a TV show, which they, for all accounts, succeeded extremely well doing. But they just had to also write it. So.
Yeah. I mean, think about the fan base. It's massive. I mean, for everybody in all walks of life. I mentioned this before. When the show first came on, I could have given 2 shits. I'm not really into the whole fantasy thing, when I was younger.
Same.
And it took, I think season 4 maybe I finally started watching it. And it was because my roommate...
I'm glad you bring that up. So I watched season 1 when it came out. Not on Sunday nights, but I think 2 or 3 episodes in, somebody told me to go watch it. And I did, and it was good. But I would watch. I'd miss a couple weeks. I'd catch up, or I'd finish it. And there was no need for me to keep up with it. And then, honestly, I think it was season 5. But it was once the books stopped happening.
Right.
Is when I started watching it every Sunday. But it's also the first time I got online and started reading about it.
Right.
Because while there were books, the assholes online that come up with their own theories.
Oh God.
But really, they just are but they know what's going to happen when the books are out, so they try to phrase it like they're a genius. I got this theory that all these people are going to die at this wedding. Fucking asshole. So
yeah, I do too. It's on page 45 over here.
Yeah. So I started getting into it because then I could finally get online and read all the theories and do all this stuff, and then I didn't want to miss out, so I had to start watching it on Sundays.
Right.
And then I rewatched it earlier this year around Christmas and then at the beginning of this year. And now I don't think I'll ever go back and rewatch it, at least not right now. But I think season 6 and 7, especially season 7, I like season 7. I could look past all of the quickness of it because I thought there were a lot of cool scenes and cool things were happening because I was like, well, it'll all make sense when it's finished.
Right.
But now that I don't think it makes sense, I don't think
Right,
I'll
you're
like
like,
it or appreciate
fuck
it
it,
as
yeah.
much. So
Right.
that's what I said earlier. They ruined it all for me.
Yep.
Right.
I agree
So
with
as
that.
far as before we sign off here, do you have a favorite episode and do you have a favorite season?
You have one. You seem like you're ready to
Yeah.
roll. So
Yeah,
I'm going to think
Jenna's
about it for a
ready over
second.
here.
You are good.
Well, I don't have like a favorite season because it kind of runs over, but my favorite moment of the whole season was the whole John and Egret.
Okay.
Like that whole the whole story is my favorite.
It's a great story.
They're married in real life, right?
Yep.
Yeah, not to be like a typical sob,
Have
but
you seen
like
the side-by-side shots of him holding Ygritte and him holding Dany?
no.
Oh, no, I have not.
Look
that'd
pretty
be awesome.
similar.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
The internet. I didn't think about it either. Just saw it.
I also just love how savage the free folk are and like that
Yeah.
whole thing and how it turned and she fought for it, all that bullshit. That's great.
Yeah, she could have killed him, but she didn't.
I know.
She knew what
and
she
then
was
she
doing.
stood up for
She knew what she
him
was
and-
doing. She's like, oh, this dude playing hard to get, okay.
Yeah.
I'll see him at Castle Black.
I got this.
Battle of Bastards, was that the end of season 5, second to last episode, or season 6?
Season 6.
Was it 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did they all chant King of the North?
End of season 6.
That one. Go with that one.
Okay.
That's your favorite?
Should have
It's
ended
just
it
a
there.
powerful
Should have
moment
been
for
like
you,
King of
just
the North.
powerful.
Yeah, little Lady Mormont being all cool and shit, and then
Oh, dope.
Oh,
I
my
love
gosh.
her. She was
got
such
emotional when she died.
She's
yes.
a damn force.
I was so upset because I thought she was gonna bitch down like a little kid, and that's why she wasn't supposed to be there. But she owned it, and she
Yep.
made her place. And I was like, yes,
Yep.
yes.
made
Who
Bear
heeded the
Island
call?
proud.
Oh, she's so good. Yeah, mine, I'd have to say season 4 is by far my favorite. Not just because Joffrey dies. I mean, the whole thing with Oberyn Martell coming in, the trial with Tyrion. Tyrion in that trial, to me, is probably one of the best moments in television. When he pretty much tells the whole town how he saved them, but if he had to do it again, he'd watch them die. I mean, the guy's just phenomenal actor. And, I do miss his dad. I hate to say it. Tywin, David, or him.
I have no
He
clue
was
what
good,
exactly
too.
it is.
But I can't remember his name. We talked about him before. I mean, he is tremendous. And I mean, as the dad, as Tywin Lannister, I mean, he was fantastic. So as far as favorite episodes, though, definitely Battle of the Bastards. To me, cinematically, I felt like I was watching Gladiator in the movie theater. It was great. Like Braveheart. I mean, it was up there with these scenes from these blockbuster movies. It was up there for being just an episode of a television show.
You saying that when you look back to it, you think it was like the Tyrion show, like with all of his fucking speeches he made, especially with this last one.
He does talk a lot.
He was talking. I was like, "Are you done?" Like,
Good
I
thing
get it.
They
Like,
made a joke about him not being in the book.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The entire show was about him and the Starks.
Yep,
But
that's true.
He is the hand to 3 kings, led multiple invasions and fights. He did a lot of stuff
He did a
outside
lot
of
of
just
shit.
what we as watching
for
it
a
would
quote
know.
unquote imp.
But they wrote the
He did a
history
lot.
of Westeros after Robert Baratheon died, and the Hand of 3 Kings doesn't get mentioned.
Nothing, not even a cameo.
What?
I'm sure he's fine with it. But I did want him to finish the damn joke about the honeycomb and the donkey. Does nobody want him to finish
wait,
that?
when
He's brought
was
it up
that?
like 4
I didn't
times.
hear
I don't know anything about honeycomb.
Tell
No,
us the
so
joke.
it's been various seasons where he talks about he went to a brothel one time with a honeycomb and a donkey, but that's it. He said it 3 times in the show and
the
has
Master
never
of Coin
finished
is
it.
going to get the brothers up and running, so
Yeah.
we can find out. I got
Or
emotional
as
with that, too. I like
as
that.
Davos says, the master of lofty names and titles.
Yeah.
I love Davos, man. He was actually one of my wild card picks for the Iron Throne because I just think he's
Really?
probably one of the most genuine dudes. As far as characters, I think his character is the most humble and genuine out of all of them, to be honest with you.
So he's not a knight
Nah,
or a lord or
he's,
a lady
he's the
or
Onion Knight.
A lady or
whatever the names are.
Well, before we sign off, ladies and gents, it is time to go over your final scores for the final episode of Game of Thrones. For those of you that got Jon Snow, he got you 21 points, 10 for killing Dany, 4 for killing a family member, 4 for killing a character from season 1, and 3 for making it out of the episode alive. Bran Stark is your absolute winner, though, plus 33 for being the king of the 6 kingdoms, and 3 points for making it out alive.
Is that prorated since it's only 6 instead of 17?
I should have knocked off a couple points for that. And then rounding out the rest of the crew here over here. There we go. Jordan's in the house.
Hey,
Go ahead and give us
welcome
your
to your podcast.
Go ahead and give
Thanks
us your
for you to
take on
finally
the
show
final
up.
episode real quick.
First of all, this is DooDoo Brown.
Because I don't care, but I'm going to walk downstairs and get a beer.
Okay, go suck a dick.
Yeah, you're coming
no,
at the right time, man.
No, I am actually training right now. So. But hi everyone, DooDoo Brown, 3879.
That's
take
good
on
because
the-
I'm making them wait for their scores longer.
Take on the final episode.
Yeah.
Well, I already know I fucking lost.
You lost barely to me.
Oh, of course
I had Jon Snow and Bran Stark.
Imagine that.
He was kicking ass
I
though.
know, you said.
He was kicking ass.
Fuck you.
It's only because I had Jon Snow and Bran.
Well, they didn't do anything. Neither one of them did a
Nothing.
goddamn.
Bran didn't do shit besides get the throne.
That's true. His old wheelie throne.
The throne he already sits on.
So I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a good series. Now I'm not going to be hung up on DB Weiss and whatever the other fucktard's name is when they run out of source material at the very end for them to be like, oh gosh, now we're the geniuses. No, fucking George R.R. Martin is the genius. I'm not going to be hung up on little things that were they were brought up and very, very suspenseful for the entire series, and then it was just like gone with a snap. But
that's why you have to get hung up, because that doesn't piss you off. Like, it was a whole build up and then you're just fucking let down on all points.
To be honest, if we didn't see that coming,
I did not see it coming.
These people were kind of responsible for how fucked up Deadpool was in X-Men Wolverine. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they're doing Star Wars. So
Yeah,
I know. I wasn't going to say anything.
Go
anymore,
ahead
but
and expect that to be bad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
they
man.
made the Wolverine movie where Deadpool had laser
No,
eyes
no.
and
DB
teleporting.
Weiss?
Yes.
And, oh my
And
gosh, I
yeah.
did not know that.
Yep.
Now it makes so
Now
much
it
more
makes sense.
sense.
Just say now it makes
Now it makes all the damn
Now
sense.
it's
So
garbage.
I was happy. I'm glad Dany died. Fuck her. I was down. I was.
You didn't want to see her die, like.
I mean, I didn't want to see her like stabbed in the eyeball and someone like pull it out and eat it or anything like that. Kidding. I totally would have watched that.
He would have rewound it.
But no. I'm so glad it was like it was a good moment. I mean, they did that one right. I'll love you. You'll always be my queen. And I was like, God damn it, John. And they stabbed her. I was like, God damn it. Yes, John. I saw that coming. I was like, fuck yeah. It was good. It was a good little fade. Like, I got bamboozled. Just like the rest of this series. The ending, anyways.
Right.
I thought, I was like, man, this is going to be a really good final episode. And they were like, no. But, Dany dying and then Drogon burning the iron, as pissed off as Matt is about Drogon's name.
How is he now just like mad about that? Like, it hasn't been his name since season 2.
Drogon, the dragon. But I thought it was cool that he was like, man, fuck this throne. Instead of burning Jon Snow, which he knew that Jon Snow was
I still
burned.
think we were talking about it that Jon was really, really close to the fire. Like, I at least would have been sweating my ass off.
Yeah, but I
feel
mean,
like it would've been
she went through. Well, he's a Targaryen, so he wouldn't have burned.
See, everybody says that,
But I would have liked to have seen it tested. You know.
Sure, but then they would have had to like.
Let me check the warranty on Jon Snow real quick.
I was about to say, but then they would have had to find him like extra clothing. But then they kind of just let that scene.
Yeah,
There
they
many.
fizzled.
This is the one thing that really pissed me off about this episode is that how many fucking times did it fade to black?
Oh my gosh, so many.
It was just
I meant to bring that up, too.
Man, we've got all this.
Yeah.
Why?
Next
Yep.
thing, it's weeks later, Tyrion
Yep.
has a beard. Jon Snow has a beard.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. I didn't like the whole fade to
I
black.
found it a little bit unbelievable. Did you finish? No, you didn't. I found it a little bit unbelievable that they didn't just up and fucking murder Jon Snow whenever they came into the
Right.
room.
Seriously.
You're right
And
about
first
that.
of all, she got carried off.
Yeah.
So I would have been like, yo, she left.
I would have lied. I would have
Yeah, I
fucking.
Yeah, I would have been like, yo, she took
She just
off. She
gave
said,
up.
fuck this place.
She said, you know what? Fuck this throne, Drogon, Dracarys. That
You know what? You
fucking
go ahead and you
throne.
have it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
If
Go
I
ahead.
can't have it, no one has it. I
Yep.
got a dragon. This is my throne. He's a bad
Yeah.
liar. That's
He's
all
a
it was.
really, really bad
Liar.
liar.
Grey Worm came up and was like, "Where is Daenerys?" And he was like, I fucking killed her."
Well, where's her body? Drogon picked her ass up and flew her to Valyria, I
I
guess.
guess.
I'd love to see that skin. I'm not even lying.
I mean, that would have been a hilarious
Yes,
conversation.
yes.
And I know I told you this already, but like, if this whole season, if they would have ended the show just because, I mean, let's face it, if it would have been last season that they just ended it as shitty as they did this season, I would have much more rather them ended it last season than this season was just like a comedy of that inner circle of Tyrion and Bronn and everyone.
Yeah, the
Did you already
small
say
council
that?
meetings. Yep.
Oh, okay,
yep. Oh no,
so
I agree. No,
it's still my idea.
no, I
No,
did.
he just
Well,
thought
I
it
mean,
was
because
funny.
I loved it too. That's one of my
He
favorite
said he could have
scenes.
listened to them forever.
Yeah,
Oh, God,
it would have been like Brooklyn
They
Nine-Nine.
could do a sideshow on just a small council meeting.
Which none of those people really belonged there.
No.
They're the riffraffs. Of course they belong there. Who else would have been there?
Ferris, if he were still alive. Tyrion's bitch ass. Old punk.
It was me. I'm glad Tyrion had his "it was me" moment, though.
No, I thought he was going to stab. I thought he was going to stab her or like try and fight her. But he didn't. He just, I don't know. I thought there was going to be more like aggressive.
I thought one of my favorite parts of this episode was Arya just kind of lingering around in the background, and then she's just up there with Jon, like, you know, you fucked up.
Yeah,
you know it.
Yeah,
you know what
her
you've
sneaky
done.
little ass.
Yep.
See, what I didn't like though was how I brought this up. How Grey Worm's slicing throats. John's making his way to the courtyard, and then there's Grey Worm at the top of the damn steps. Oh, he's like, what do you do? Take the fucking
he's a ninja.
Scenic route?
Well, he's a
nutless ninja.
Wow, the nutless clan. He's kind of like Jason Voorhees. He just has to walk slowly, and then he's going to get there.
He's going to get there. I mean, he is pretty badass. Did you read that thing today about where they're going to the Isle of Narth? I forgot to bring this up earlier.
Who?
That Grey Worm.
No.
So apparently, the reason like they've never been attacked, that it's a peaceful island or whatnot. There's some kind of like something in there. It's the Isle of Butterflies or some shit like that. But only the people that actually live there survive there. So if you're an outsider and you go there, you're going to die because of something in the like the butterflies give off or something like that. It's almost like pollen. The pollen there kills you if you're not from there.
It's The Happening.
I was just a Mark Wahlberg movie.
Apparently that's how it is in the book. So people are like, "Oh my god, they're all going to die." It's
good.
Like,
fuck Grey Worm, stupid ballless ass. Now he can.
To all the eunuchs out there.
Adios. In their native tongue.
Back to the score though. Bran Stark plus 33. Jon Snow plus 21. Sansa Arya plus 3. Grey Worm plus 3. Yara Greyjoy plus 3. Sam Tarly. Tormund. Davos. Bronn. Robin of the Vale. Edmure Tully. Gendry. Brienne and Podrick all with 3 points. Daenerys minus 3 points.
Why?
Because she got killed by a family member.
But
she didn't make it out.
But she said bastard.
So that's 1 point. So
get the fuck
it's minus 4 for getting killed by a family member.
Bastard.
So she made a point back for saying bastard. You make it seem like I knew how this was going to end.
You did. I mean, you knew the shit ass point system.
So did everybody else.
You did make that up.
I'm kidding. I'm really mad.
I sent it to everybody. Anyways, hopefully you guys all enjoyed the fantasy game. Whether you enjoyed the season or not, we still love having you on the show as far as listening. Make sure you check us out next week. Big thank you, Andrew Newman, who's also one of our sponsors, AttorneyNewman.com, correct?
That is true. You can call or text 336-663-2388. All your legal needs and get arrested.
All over North Carolina, not just Guilford County.
Support and all that stuff.
You really just plugged yourself just like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't had a sponsor spot, so this is the sponsor-free show, but we have our sponsor on it.
Get that big old sponsor.
Sign up.
All right. Well, this is DooDoo Brown signing off, and I can't wait to find out what other show Brian does a terrible job at making a scoring system for.
We'll have to wait and see.
And Jenna Forbes, and I'm still disappointed.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out the website. By the time this airs, it's actually going to be a new website, popculturepodcast.com. So a hard to pronounce podcast name, but easy to find website. P-O-P.
Can I still squeal the pop part?
Oh, yeah. So thank you for listening to Multi. It's your all the hardest pronounced pop culture podcast on the planet. We'll see you next time. Coming to you from the Speakeasy Tavern. Make sure you join us on Sundays. Jordan will be bartending. I'll be hosting trivia. Starts at 6:30 sharp.
Bitch.